Today I'm going straight into my top 10 tips for new players to Splatoon 3. Stay until the end to get my bonus tip. Splatoon 3 is not like other third-person shooter games and is unique in its genre. This means that the controls you may be used to in other games are not the same. For example, you have your typical jump, shoot, move, and throw. However, you can also dive, swim, surge, and even roll, if you have the right one. So it's worth spending a few minutes to get used to the controls before heading into a match. Number 2, motion controls. By default, Splatoon 3 has motion controls enabled, and it's worth learning how to use it. It can feel a bit jagged, and you'll definitely miss a lot of shots at the beginning. However, in the long term, motion controls can be far more accurate than traditional aiming. It will take a while to get there, but you will not regret keeping this on. Number 3, training grounds. As you level up in Splatoon 3 by playing online matches, you can unlock additional weapons. Always try the weapon before purchasing to make sure you are happy with it and know how it works. You can do this by heading over to the Ammo Night shop and pressing Y on a weapon to test it. You can also test out the sub and special weapons so you are sure it matches your playstyle. Number 4, learn your weapons. In Splatoon 3 you have a primary weapon, secondary weapon and a special. Primary weapons are what is used for most of the game, from sloshes to snipers, and you need to learn the weapon's range, splash area, and damage. Secondary weapons are your throwables. This could be a suction bomb, which stays in place once thrown, a barrier to protect you and your allies, or something else. Secondary weapons are crucial to gameplay, and you need to know when and when not to use them. Specials are like your ultimates. They are used only a few times in a game, but can mean the difference between winning and losing. Some specials are area effects. They can be explosive, create a large barrier, and even turn you into a crab. You need to learn not only how to use your special, but also when to use it. But be careful, specials are lost on respawn. Number 5, like and subscribe to my channel. No one's ever used that before. Tip number 5 is actually, the floor is ink. In Turf War, you need to ensure that you have inked most floor space. It is crucial to ink your base. Many players will swim off straight into the action trying to splat other players, which can result in a lot of missed ink. I've also witnessed losses purely due to players not inking their base. Even outside of Turf War, you need to ensure you have inked where needed. The crucial difference between Turf War and other play modes is that inking your base is not always the best use of your time. Sure, ink on your way to the objectives or other players. I'd even recommend inking a bit behind as you go, but don't waste time inking every single corner. You and your teammates won't use every section. A final note on this is that inking the floor increases your special gauge. If you find yourself being pushed, it may be worth inking to get your special up and get that counter in. Number 6, watch out for water and ledges. There is nothing like jumping into a match, getting into a fight and then falling into water or over a ledge. Both will instantly lead to your character respawning, which is not only annoying but wastes valuable time you could be using to splat your opponents or capture objectives. Some maps also change during the game and can expose sections of water, so be careful. Tip number 7, ink conservation. Keep an eye on your ink meter. On your player's back you can see a tube. This tube tells you how much ink you have ready to use. The line going across also shows you when you can use your secondary and how much ink it consumes. Your ink meter refills automatically, but dive into your ink to refill much quicker. Using your special also automatically fills your ink to the top. Tip number 8, use your map. Your map is a crucial and key item. You do not have a mini-map to use whilst playing and must rely on either the full map or what you've already seen in-game. Your map can show you where your teammates are, how many opponents are currently respawning, along with the weapons they use, and even where your opponents are, if you have a good eye. Always look at your map when respawning. I also recommend looking at your map when you are not actually engaged in a fight, but only a quick glance. You can also use your map to super jump to either your teammates or to a beacon on the map, which is really handy for either getting out of a tight situation or if you want to quickly get into the fray. Once you start getting used to using your map, you'll be able to find potentially game-changing details from just a few seconds, so use it. Tip 9, jump into the fray and not the fire pit. When looking at your map, you can choose to jump to one of your teammates by hovering over a player and selecting A. This is great for pushing players or defending zones, but be careful, jumping into an active fight will most likely get you killed, especially as enemy players can see your jump spots if they are nearby. And finally, tip number 10, learn to play with others. Splatoon 3 is a team game and built to play like one. Each player has their role in every match, and you need to learn yours. By playing with your team rather than going solo and getting splatted constantly by the other team, you are more likely to win games. Whether this is a support role by keeping areas inked for players, or an attacking role so you can distract the enemy team, you need to ensure you are not being useless and needlessly splat it. And now for our bonus tip. Get good, scrub. Practice, practice and practice. Head into turf war or anarchy battles and use each game to learn what you are doing wrong and what you can do to improve. By playing more, you'll naturally learn the controls, your weapons and your playstyle. So head into fire and tackle the game head on. Thank you for watching this video. There will definitely be more tips and tricks coming in the future. I'll aim to schedule a video each week. Until then, keep splatting.